on and on. You never gave me an answer.
Hello, everybody.
Mic check 1 2 3. Hello. Hope you
Can you hear
guys
me?
are doing
Hello.
well. Can you hear me and Elisa? Oh, my camera's I'm a bit bright today. Awesome. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me know in the chat. Say a big hello if you guys can hear us, if you guys can see us. It has been quite many weeks since we had a live stream where we had our faces. And finally, we have a chance to make our lovely talking heads on camera and with a brand new guest host. We have Elisa here. And I'll let her do a quick intro, but I just want to make sure y'all have the sound. Can you guys hear us? Double check. You got to give us a shout. We don't see a shout, we don't know. You got to let us know inside the chat. Tell us everything. Tell us how do we look good? Do we sound good? And are you ready to talk about gamification for students? That is the topic of today's episode. So I hear y'all in the chat, so that's perfect. Love to have you guys here. Thank you for your patience in waiting for the stream link. YouTube just changed the link on us like randomly at the last minute, but I'm glad we got it here. We're gonna be doing a lot of cool stuff today, and this session is really collaborative. That's what usually we want it to be. The whole idea is that we're trying to build a system that works for you guys all, and that's why I like having these nice. At least, I guess, Alyssa, I'll call you an expert, right? You are an expert opinion here on this in terms of how to motivate yourself, right? In terms of studying for assessments, acing your exams. So let you give a quick intro to the crowd. I'm super excited to have you here. Maybe you can tell everybody, what is your motivation level in doing this? What do you need in a Notion system for students?
So, hello, everybody. I'm Elisa. As he said, I am a pre-nursing student about to be a nursing student soon. Yay. So, motivation is a really important to me. I love games. I'm a big casual gamer. I have an Animal Crossing Notion because I love it so much. And I love to use rewards and gold to make myself want to do things. And even though I think, Conrad, your system is great, it is not always optimized for students. So that's why I kind of had this motivation to come on here and just like talk about it and how we can make students more included in this system that Notion has given you the tools. So why don't we make something?
Awesome. So as y'all heard, this is probably one of the most I would say like pre-nursing and any like pre-grad programs, like pre-law, pre-med. These are pretty much some of the most like hectic programs out there because they're trying to prepare you for like a lifetime of pain. Well, I mean, there's a lot of knowledge you're trying to cram into your brains, right? And I would dare say that your experience here and your inputs would help the system advance to a whole new level where we basically will never see it before. And you're right in the fact that our gamification system is more set up for like maybe general productivity, general goal, project management. But when you start thinking about like how assessments work, right, they're not necessarily like, sometimes you just got to do them, right? Like our whole big thing about be intentional is always have the end in mind. Why are you doing something, right? Why do you want to have that outcome in your life? Where, well, schooling, maybe it's just like, I want to get that degree, but also, of course, how do you want to think about getting that degree? Is there something still driving that motivation? And that's what I kind of want to throw in. So, there's two big components we're going to discover today. The first one is, how can we use gamification to do the work that you really don't want to do, um, during your day? You might not always enjoy that course, but it's part of your requirements to graduate, so you better do it, right? But you got to figure out exactly how much you need to get on that last assessment, right? So then you can actually spend the time to study the things that you want to study. And of course, then, how can you also, you know, I was a student too, right? Just half a decade ago, but it was important to me always to know like where I was trying to go with that degree. Why am I trying to study so hard? Like I'm in school, I'm doing these courses, I'm doing these assessments, but why? And of course, getting a degree is the easy answer. The other simple answers are, my parents want me to go to school, right? There's a lot
To
of
get a
answers like
job.
that. Yeah, I need to get a job, right? But like those are always things to consider, right? But I want to help you figure out like how can you do your future job happily and how can you set up for that today? And that's the whole aspect of being intentional. So today's gonna be a very exciting chat. Someone asked, "Is this through Zoom?" No, this is actually through our private meeting room. We actually made our own Zoom clone because we're extra like that. Or actually, we just wanted to have more than 30 minutes for our calls and not have to pay for Zoom and have our own benefits, all that. But yeah, so super excited today. We did our introductions. We talked a bit about the why, but let's elaborate a bit on it. I have a little toggle here. I think I gotta do like a little space at the bottom so I can scroll a little more. Okay. So while the gamification templates and Be Intentional series, it's great for life planning and breaking down work, it's not intuitive for students who are taking courses and doing assessments and sometimes may not actually know what they are working towards other than a degree. So that's really important. What are we going to do? So we want to configure the system to customize so that we can capture the reality of the work students are doing. And I think, Elisa, you have a lot of ideas on this. We took a lot of screenshots. We did a lot of research. So that's why today's going to have a lot of feature building, which I'm so excited about.
I'm
But
so excited.
yeah, so why so before we build any system, it's really important to like break down the why, what's, and hows, right? So like, why do you want to do this? What's the motivation? What is the outcome? Like after we walk out of this, right? What do we hope to have in our hands? So I guess like, Alyssa, if I could ask you, like, what does your perfect system look like? What would you want your perfect system to able to help you do? I'm not saying in terms of functionality right now, we'll get there.
Mhm.
I'm saying in terms of like outcomes. What would you hope that this system would do for you?
I would hope that this system would give me a better sense of organization, an outlook on the future. Because even with this system now, I still have no idea what's happening in the future, but I I have like an idea, but I never see my goals every single day. I never see what I'm working towards every single day, especially especially those weeks when things get real tedious and you're doing like 50 readings in a week and you feel kind of desperate to feel like you're doing something for the week. I'm not getting that, so I want to feel good about what I'm doing each week and that I'm striving for something more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like how a lot of people use, like how you would say like a regular like bullet journal or stuff like that. But I liked things to be able to work without me doing like tons and tons and tons of work to continually make new things, like make new calendars, make new lists every single time. I like things to be pretty much optimized so I can get in, know what I have to do, look at my goals, look at what my next step is, and get out and get right to the pomodoros, get right to the assessments.
Understood. So if I could summarize what you're saying, so correct me if I'm wrong, a better sense of organization, make sure you have some kind of view that helps you look in the future every day so you don't have to worry about not being on track, right?
Yes.
And especially when things get real tedious, right? Or when things get real, I mean, tedious is boring, but not even just boring when things get tough. You got to know, like,
Yeah.
this is where you're going. This is why,
Right.
right? um, feel good about what you're doing every week and striving for more. I think that's very human. That's very important, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that like you're constantly getting somewhere, constantly, doing good work that's leveling you up, right? Netting you that gold, and then making sure that it's systemized so you don't have to keep making. And I think that's important because bullet journaling for me, why it didn't work was that I have to keep like making a new page every single
Oh my
day,
goodness.
and that might
Exactly.
be
It
part of
takes so
the
much.
therapeutic process. I mean, I get it. It might be a good thing to kind of spend time on, but it does take a lot of time, and I wouldn't say it's perfect.
Right.
It's
I
not
don't think
as
it's the optimized way for me,
sure.
but I know that many people do it, and many people love to have that as an option. But
Mm-hmm.
but I love the way that this is laid out, that you can like be earning things, and then you can get yourself rewards.
Mm.
And like I wouldn't I don't I don't think I would do that effectively with like a bullet journal or with like a regular planner, if you get what I'm saying.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Awesome. So let's talk a bit about the how, yeah? So we had a lot of ideas, right? We wrote down a lot of stuff. Maybe you can talk a bit about what these ideas mean for you, and then we can start going straight into the build from here on out.
All right.
So I have these things on the side. So easily find material for each course forever. What does that mean to you?
So, especially for me, I have a lot of classes build onto each other. So you can't forget this information, and you can't lose this information. You don't know how many times I've gone through like Google Drive and then Microsoft OneDrive just to find a note that I was from like a year ago, and it wasn't even that far, that I couldn't find. And
Mm-hmm.
for me to be able to go to my course, to know exactly what I need, to know exactly where it is, that would just be beautiful. That's all I need
Understood.
for
So having
like
like a
a kind of archive
master,
system.
yeah, a master kind of space. Like, and you're talking about courses that are even past too, right? Like just for the whole
Yeah,
period of your learning career. Got it. So maybe like even having different views for projects that are marked as courses, right?
yeah,
That could be
yeah.
interesting. Cool.
Hmm.
And then you mentioned differentiate between tasks like discussion, exam, homework, etc. Like,
Yes.
what does that difference mean to you? Like, why couldn't they all be categorized as a task? Like, why do they have to be different?
So specifically, in my case, my I go by syllabus. I always look by the syllabus, and you know how many to gamify. You know how many points a discussion's going to give you, like 5, and
Mm,
then an exam's going to give you like 100 points in the future. So
sure.
it kind of helps you gauge priority, because even though yes, there is a priority type of thing, I think it is much more effective to be able to see, oh, so I have 2 discussions this week. Oh, that's not too bad. And I can just get these out of the way, and then get to studying for the exam today as well. So it helps me gauge and time block where I can do things, how important things are, and also just to look back on them, because sometimes teachers love to like all of a sudden throw in like an essay question about like your discussion, and
Mm,
it'll really help to know like, oh, what week was that? Oh, okay. I remember that. I remember doing that. Or oh shoot, I almost forgot about the discussion this week. So that's one of like the big reasons why it not only does it help with categorizing and storing, it
mm.
helps gauge with priority.
Got it. So let's start there. So we'll kind of like run through each how, and then slowly build up this ginormous system that we're gonna end up with at the end of time. But yeah, let's run through this first, and then we're gonna keep switching between like, hey, once we solve this problem, we say, did it solve it? If it does, we move on. If it doesn't, we keep iterating. Sound good? Sounds good.
Right.
How's everyone doing in the chat? Are you guys still following? If you guys are still following, make sure you speak up. Make sure you let us know if the things we're talking about make sense for you. Ask us if you have more things that you want to see. We're here to build. We're here to build together. So you bring out your Notion space too, and we'll build together. So
Yay!
let's switch screens. Let's switch views here. So let's do this.
Let's do this.
Okay,
Eh.
so this was the how. I guess we can delete all this stuff for now so we can just have some more space to work. There's some things we're going to learn from other places as well. I think, Alyssa, just pause me and let me know whenever there's something I could learn from, like the color shop templates and different inspirations. Just let me know like if there's anything that I'm doing that like, oh, you're already doing like double your work. I'm like, okay, gotcha. Okay, so for the first thing we're gonna solve, sorry, I gotta jump back in here for a sec. I'm going to copy these hows and I'm gonna start building on that. So the first things are here. So we're going to easily find course material for each course forever. We're going to have views for projects on marked courses. So right now, my solution here that I'm thinking about is we're going to have a sub property that's going to differentiate between like courses if it's a project. We're going to have something that is going to differentiate between discussion, exam, homework, if it's a task, okay? So basically, this is going to be a sub-property where we're going to be using it to essentially tag certain things on a different level. And you'll get what I mean. This is going to be important.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to open up. I think I should build this in the super package, and then eventually it'll distill downstream. And by the way, guys, if you watch till the end, we actually have a special giveaway for anybody who actually wants to use the gamification system, but with the brand new gamification tactics and features that we have that are being built today with Alyssa. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget. Don't leave us.
Please don't leave us.
We want to hear, right? So let me make sure I have it. And I am lagging. Am I lagging? Hello. I'm good. Let me make sure I can get to that page. I'm just going to open a new window so I can grab that link without bothering you all. Cool. And then I'm going to open a new tab, go to that super package, and I'm going to go into a view that is about let's zoom out a little bit so I can see more things. Let's go into the success plan first, because that's where we're going to start. So let's go into success plan first. And Alyssa, you're still seeing me, right? Just making sure.
Yeah, I can still see your screen.
Perfect. Okay, so for those who are familiar with the success plan, you kind of get it. Basically, we have a few different views where you can see yourself in the founder mindset, where you're setting your big goals and your outcomes. So what does that goal mean? So for example, if you're being more mindful, how do you measure that you've been more mindful? Maybe you meditated daily for a month. Maybe you improved your general well-being because you're tracking all that stuff. So that's more like a key results, right? So you kind of have your why, and then your what is your key results. And then you also want to talk about, as a manager, as a project manager even as well, where how can you then determine what are the projects are coming out of each key result? How do you determine that, hey, if I want this outcome, what experiments do I have to embark on that are both traditionally known, so other people have taught about it, that this is the way that you can get this outcome? Or if you are experimenting new ways, as many of us do as creatives, then we can figure out how that's done, and obviously the task. And we'll go through all of this at a later time as well. Actually, let me just use a different view if you guys don't mind. I'm going to change to the on deck view, which makes it easier to look at all this stuff in one place. So we can use this view, and we can kind of see the goals, the key results, the projects, and the task. And of course, there's a version of this inside your build your own dashboard as well, but this is where we can start working on. So what I was thinking about was, for projects, we could have an additional property here called a sub-property. Let's make a property here. Let's call it a subtype. And this subtype is going to be a select. Or what do you think is a multi-select, Alyssa? Is there many things that we could be subtypes? Or is it usually just like either it's a discussion or an exam? Like it wouldn't be multiple.
I feel like there can be multiple.
Okay.
You know why? Because sometimes I will have, like, to give you an example, like there's a homework assignment I had that I shared with the community about my kinesiology, but it was also a study guide, if you guys didn't know. So it like sometimes things like teeter in between, but usually like it's kind of just like one way. So I wouldn't mind if it was just one.
Sure. I mean, it's flexible. Again, love Notion because flexible enough to change after the fact. You said it was a select property now. You change it to a multi-select later. No big deal. So super, super easy. Okay, so for task, what are them? Discussions and
Uh,
discussions,
let's do
exams,
yeah
assessments.
exam, yeah assessment, yeah. Um, just like you could have like a general just like homework, like if it's like too complicated to understand, because sometimes I've
Sure.
had like homework assignments that are like 50 million pages and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna call it homework.
Perfect. So we already have two things here then, right? We have something here where we're going to be able to see easily already if it's a course or not. So let's also try to, I guess, work out an example because I think a lot of students in the community have been curious, like, how do you actually map out a proper like goals, key results, projects, task
Right,
structure for a course, right? So
and one of those
maybe
people was me asking.
exactly. So maybe you can give me your best example, and then I can kind of walk you through how I would think about it.
Okay, I'm like still like a bit confused how key results work
Hmm.
and how, because I kind of understand goal, because for me it's pretty simple to just like get a job, be a nurse, but I don't see where key results come in. So if you could like kind of explain that a little bit more, I could hopefully give you an example.
Sure. There's a few schools of thought on this, and actually, to make this even more easy to understand, let me go into the alignment space so I can show you everybody else as well, like the Be Intentional framework, the mind
Mm-hmm.
map that brings everything together. So basically, like if you guys can see here, the idea behind, so let me talk about it in terms of life planning, and then we'll mold it towards student planning because I think that will be the easiest flow. In terms of life planning, the whole idea is that you have a lot of areas in your life that you want to improve. Generally, I would call these are the parts of your life that are never going to stop improving. You'll continuously work on them, and you are always going to want to be known for these things. So for example, if I scroll down a bit, you can see these are examples of areas of competence that I care about. I care about having good mindsets. I care about having good health, good finances. I like sharing a lot to other people. I like having a good life, traveling a lot. These are all the things that I want to be known for and I want to continuously improve on, but it's not like I'll ever have perfect health, right? But what
Right.
would happen is I would have individual goals to improve each area, right? I can't always just be focusing on like, hey, I just want to keep improving on this without knowing exactly to what end, right? So for example, for
Mm-hmm.
health, I maybe want to improve on my fitness, and specifically in my fitness, then what am I trying to improve? So the why would be, the goal would be, maybe I want to get fit in 2020, right? But then I can specify so many different ways. I want to get fit cardio wise. I want to get fit strength wise. I want to get fit, technical wise. Maybe I want to be able to do a backflip, right? In the key results, that's where you would specify exactly what it means for you to have that goal of getting fit in 2020%, for example. So like, because
Right.
there's just so many ways. So you see that we're actually getting deeper and deeper into, the specifics where the areas is the high levels like, hey, I want good health, but who doesn't, right? And
Right.
then you go into, well, I want good health in the area of cardio. And then you're like, great, what does that mean? Well, maybe I want to be able to run 10 km I'll run a marathon, right? Maybe I want to run a triathlon. Maybe I want to be able to, do 100 push-ups. Like whatever your key result might be, that has to essentially describe what that goal means to you. And that's the very important part where a lot of people, again, have a goal in mind, have a bucket list of things that they want to accomplish, things they want to do, but they don't really define exactly what it would mean for them to actually accomplish that. So therefore, when they actually do the thing, they don't actually feel happy. They don't know that they actually accomplished what they wanted in life already. So this is a good way for you to determine like where are your parameters when you're trying to, I guess, solve this problem in your life, because most goals are born out of problems, right? Things you want to do. It's a problem that you haven't done it yet, right? So you're
Right.
trying to find out what the solution is, and this is your key result. And of course, projects for me is just like your experiments on how you can get there. Obviously, you just using fitness still as an example, as a fun example, is like people have different body types. People have different biochemical kind of makeup. So some people might fare better with doing a lot of running to up their cardio. Some people maybe do, high intensity interval training, right? Maybe some people have different types of exercises that helps them get to the goals they want to achieve. So projects to me can be very flexible. Now,
Right.
and of course that breaks down to like tasks and whatnot. So that's like the nitty gritty, and we don't have to go too deep into that because that's pretty obvious. Everyone knows how to execute on tasks. Everyone has a to-do list. That's basically that. The to-do list is basically that. So the interesting thing about student life is that, and you can let me know if I'm off track on this because I want to hear your opinion on this, is
I have so many opinions, so I'll tell them all.
awesome. So the interesting thing about student life is a lot of people think that they can only get the goal of that job, that dream job that they want, only if they go through this one track of school.
Right.
And my opinion has always been like, you can be anything you want. Aside from those that actually obviously need a professional degree, like you can't be a lawyer if you haven't gone to law school, you haven't passed the bar. You can't be a doctor if you haven't gone to med school. You can't be a nurse if you haven't gone to nursing school. I get those. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about most of the times when people say like, oh, I have to get through school to get this job, because I think this job needs this certain qualifications of a degree. And, this is why I'm going to slave away for the next 6 years or 4 to whatever years of my life and get this, bachelor's or master's or whatever, and hopefully get the job I want. So for me, a good example of that would be, for example, like, I know a lot of creatives that are currently going to school right now that are, in their first, second year of school, and they're in design school because they hope that at the end of design school, they can get a job, whether becoming like a user experience designer, a UX, UI designer, interaction designer for, technology companies. Like, that's what they hope that they'll get at the end of the day. Where my perspective is, well, don't waste your 2 years in school, your 4 years in school. You can start taking on, projects today. You can start taking on, interesting UI and UX projects on your side time. You don't have to wait for that, degree, that piece of paper to tell your employer that you're good. It's much better if you have a portfolio already built up because you've been working on this your whole time. And on top of that, you get to actually practice your craft and know if you actually want this, so that you don't wait 4 years to realize that you hate the job you're going to get into. So that's kind of an example for me where if your goal was to create beautiful interactions and user experience for people using your product or people using your app or people using whatever you're going to share to the world, then perhaps one key result is going to be getting that degree, but another key result could be getting 10 clients that actually are going to pay you for delivering that experience to their company, right? So that's kind of where I see on how you can have like a difference in terms of like, hey, this is my school way of solving things, and this is my like maybe real world way of solving things. But of course, we're talking to you today, because you have a very specific need. There's no way for you to be a nurse without going to nursing school. So that's all of the picture. So for these kind of situations, what we've kind of shared about in the community before was that like, you can either have your courses as the projects, or you can have your courses as the goal. It's actually up to you, because that can actually help you in terms of like how many more layers do you want to go down, for example. For me, I recommend the courses to be the project actually, and I'll explain why. So if your goal is to get the overall degree, your key result would be how much percentage, what's your GPA that you want to graduate with that degree. So your key result is like, hey, your goal is like, I want to be a nurse. Your key result determines what kind of nurse do you want to be. Do you want
Oh,
to
okay.
get and I don't actually, do you have specialization in nursing as well, or is that not a thing?
There is specialization in nursing, but most nursing students don't really figure it out until like their third or fourth year of
Sure,
what their
right.
specialization wants to be.
Okay.
So
So
I don't
then
know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know.
of course, yeah. So your key result could be figuring out what your specialization is going to be, right? Because the whole idea is that you want to figure out what kind of nurse you want to be. I think that should be your overall goal. Not to say I want to be a nurse, but you want to figure out what kind of nurse you want to be. Like that's actually should be the goal, in my opinion, anyway. And then of course the key result then would be getting that degree, getting a certain percentage score or whatever. Maybe you can even split up in different years. So I know someone that has split up, their key results into like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, and each year obviously has different KPIs, has different benchmarks where you want to get to, right? And then therefore that's actually very cool where you can have your projects then, like for all the courses in your year 1, you can then easily find them under your year 1 key results, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
that makes sense.
So then you can see instantly how everything rolls up into it. Actually, that's the way I probably would recommend we start building today, right? And then obviously in your course, then you would have, the things that you did to get that course and outcome that you had, which was, whether it be, your assessments, whether it be your discussions, your tutorials, like your labs, anything that you want. So
So I have a small question actually.
go ahead.
So let's say like the goal is like just as an example to get the degree. And
Yeah.
then would you need just one key result under that, or would you need like many in terms?
Yeah. So your key result could also be like, well,
Because
for example,
your
yeah.
example was GPA, but there is so much more than just GPA, if you get what I mean, under degrees.
Correct. So that's the beauty of it, right? Where if your goal is to get that degree, right? Then your
Hmm.
key result could be all the different ways where you need to make sure that the degree works for you, which means that you would have, extracurriculars under there as well, right?
Right.
And then
Hmm.
you would have projects that actually indicate which extracurriculars you've actually tried, right? Whether it be volunteering at a hospital, whether it be doing nonprofit work, whether it be doing all the lab work, even, right? There's so many different ways, and each of them would be actually be a project, in my opinion, because you have to determine which one was the most impactful for your application, which one was the most useful and the most enjoyable for you to do, right? That's something for you to figure out as well,
Right.
and yeah, so that's the important part of it. Yeah. You good?
Alrighty. Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Let's use an example. I'm going to use you as an example today. So let's create this. So we have a goal. Maybe the goal at the end of, well, I guess we don't even have a view for that, which we should. So
Yeah.
when this,
I didn't put any goals when I first got the enhanced because I didn't know really understand how to use it, so I just kind of ignored it, which
no
is
worries.
real bad.
So we have Q1 2021. So I guess like your semester, when does it start? When does it end? Let's start there. Let's use that as your basis point. When does your semester start? When does it end?
Um, this semester started in September, I think. No, August. My bad. August. It's been so long. It feels like I've been in school for years.
Okay, so
But
that's quarter 2 of
and
next year, right? Yeah.
yeah, and then it ends in December. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Got it. So if you had to say, if we had to set a goal that was going to, I guess, hmm. Actually, this determines on you as an individual. Would you rather have a goal for each year of your university life, or would you rather have an end, like a just giant goal that's going to stretch for years? Like, do you want to be able to check off this goal every year? That's a question. Does that
Um,
matter to you?
I like to have an overarching goal because I've never done that kind of thing to have one to just check off, and I don't have any ideas of
It's like
what that means.
I've lived, my first year of uni. I didn't fail, basically. Like
Oh, yeah,
that's
I could do that. Yeah, I
yeah.
celebrated after my freshman year. Are you kidding
Sure.
me? I did. I can't
Okay.
believe I made it.
Right. So maybe we can have just an example, like the first year goal, as well as the overall, like, 4-year goal, because I think those are both like very important, right?
Right.
Okay,
Definitely.
so and after, so 4 years from now would be 2020. Like, when do you plan to graduate? What's your graduation date?
2023 in May.
Okay, so let me also make like an all view, since we there's too many like minor things there. So all, and then we're going to make this filter to be all gone. So remove this and remove this. As long as it's a goal, we're gonna see it all.
Nadine
Awesome.
really called me out with the gears turning in my head. Dang. Dang, I thought we were better than that. Just
Awesome.
kidding.
So where would this goal be for you? Where would it fall under? For the goal to get a to be a nurse, where would that be? Would that be under knowledge, career? I mean, you have your own areas too, and I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I feel like to be a nurse, like actually getting the job and being considered an actual nurse, that's more career for me.
Career, okay. We have to add one called career, no problem. Actually,
Because everything like school related, I put under knowledge. But if I'm already out of school, then that's a totally different thing.
okay, be a kick-ass nurse. Looks legit, right? So we're gonna put this as a new awesome goal for you. So this is your goal. You want to be a kick-ass nurse. It's gonna be super high priority, right? And oh, so this is also interesting, where we can also add a due date, a due dates, right? So let's duplicate this. Let's make this a due date. So when do you must be a nurse by? When would that be? What? Give me a date.
A must. Me thinking about the NCLEX.
I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. Just give me like a rough period.
Wait, May, June, July. Let's do August 23rd of that same year, 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I'm like thinking about like all of the requirements of like how long can you take the NCLEX? Because as soon as you get that NCLEX and you get that, like yes, you can be a nurse. It's like the most relieving thing when you can get the job.
So when did you start on this goal, and when, I guess it will end on like August 23rd, but when did you start on it?
Well, that would technically be like when I started school, I guess.
Yeah.
School. So August 25th, 2019. Oh my gosh, 2019. It's been a while.
So this is August 23rd, 2023. Awesome. So you can even see like your progression so far, right? That's the idea. Anyway, so this is your be a kick-ass nurse. This is in progress, right? So this is your current work in progress. You're going there, but you can see it's a dream right now, because you haven't really put anything under there to make sure that it's gonna work. Awesome. So that's for your career in general, and then you also have a place where you want to be. You want to, so you see my example before was like if people wanted to do a university course to be an expert in AI, like be an expert in AI is actually the goal. So for you, what would it be here? Like what's the knowledge that you're trying to gain from your schooling? I think that's where I would kind of put you in.
Oh my.
You can focus on kinesiology if you want.
Yeah, sure. Know a heck of a lot more about nutrition.
Know more about nutrition, right? Awesome. So this is a goal.
Because I really started from nothing before college.
Perfect. Okay, so let me just use this as the initial example first for you.
Right.
Why I say it's important for everybody to be able to map out their goals, their in this such a fashion, because I want to show you how this works. And we may be spending a lot of time on this, but I think it's important for any student who's watching to understand this, because for me, this is what I wish I knew when I was in school. Like, this is 100% is what I wish I knew when I was in school, so I wouldn't be so lost and I wouldn't be so frustrated with my career path and my choices. So my example is this, right? To be a kick-ass nurse, you have to get a degree. Agreed?
Right.
No problem. Okay. But knowing
Of
more about
course, or you're
nutrition.
unlicensed.
Oh, yeah, of course. Don't be unlicensed, guys.
Don't.
Or you might want, but you might always have a penchant to know more about nutrition. And
Yeah.
what I want to make clear for you guys is, just because you're focusing on your career to be a kick-ass nurse doesn't mean you can't learn more about nutrition today. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to learn it in school, right? This could have school-related courses to teach you that, but it could also have like documentaries you can watch on your spare time. This could also have articles you can read, peer-reviewed research papers, right? There's so many things that you could do to get that, and that's where I kind of want to help you, Elisa, first, and everyone else afterwards. Is, you know, think about, like, in your own time, of course, but think about all the things that all the knowledge you're trying to get out of being in your nursing journey, and then writing all that down, because that's super important for you to actually be happy in the path that you've gotten down. And if you at the end realize that, like, maybe half the things you're learning when you're being a nurse are not things that you actually wanted to learn in the first place, maybe those are things that you can start recalibrating and say, okay, so how can I make those things more enjoyable, or how can I make those things, yeah, or how can I focus more on the things that actually make me happy than specialize, right? You're saying that you don't know what you want to specialize in, right? So how will you know? And this is kind of my way of determining that, right? So let's make some key results for being a kick-ass nurse, because I think that's important. So let's talk about that. So some key results we talked about earlier already, right? One was like, you want to do extracurriculars, right? Actually, let's put blocked as third one here, so it becomes backlog instead. So, how would you determine extracurriculars being successful? Like, how many extracurricular activities would you want to do, at least in your first year?
At least two, like like 3, 4.
And how many hours spent is that? Like, how do you normally measure, I have done this extracurricular?
I don't know. I usually do it by like how many meetings I go to. So like, just to give you a gauge of like what I'm doing now. I'm a volunteer for the American Red Cross. I do at least 1 to 2 hours every single month. So I'm also part of a volunteer club where we do about like 3 hours every 2 Fridays of the month.
So how much would that be then? Or maybe you might even want to be specific, like what the specific. So what was the American Red Cross you said?
Yes, I am a volunteer for the American Red Cross. Donate blood, y'all.
Do they have a certificate at the end of the day after you get a certain number of hours, or like how do they distinguish you?
So every single time you sign up for a blood drive, it basically like logs your hours. It does, like, for example, I'll do like 6 hours in a day, and then it'll show up, and then they do kind of these like kind of meetings. Usually it'd be in person, so that it's called like volunteer receptions, where they recognize you for your rewards. So you don't really like get like some kind of like, hey, you did it, here's your award thingy, but
you did it.
yeah, you get like a sticker and like like a gift card. But like, yeah,
so how many hours
like,
was that? How many hours would you say is something that you will be happy with at the end of your career, or at the end of your schooling?
Because okay, so my goal is to keep getting 6 hours per month. I can't math right now. So
12 months. So that's around 72 4 years. We're talking about 288, I think. 288. I think my math sucks too. I think it's 288.
Yeah, just put like 280. Yeah, that's fine.
Someone can math. Someone can check me math.
Someone can math better than us.
Someone can math us.
That's the reason that's not my major.
Yeah. Cecilia asked a good question. Is that this button means that this is a link database. Our original master database is I think I showed it just a bit earlier here, where we have, our success plan. So the whole idea is that we are using a master database to house everything, but we're using views and filters to only see the things that we want to see. So this is the master database. You can see this like this. But of course, we still have filters here that kind of just make sure that we don't get lost. There's things that, I only want to see as a founder, only see it as a goals, key results, projects, tasks, whatever. So hopefully that answers your question, Celia. But good question. Cool. So for the sake of time, let's just focus on these two things because I think there's more things later to focus on.
Yeah,
Of course, I'm showing you that hey, so if you want to be a kick-ass nurse, these are the things you have to do. You have to, do extracurriculars, the American Red Cross being one of them, maybe 288 hours. You want to get a year one GPA of maybe, I just put 3.5. I don't know if that's the way you guys calculate normally. What will be is it out of 4 for you guys?
Yeah, it's out of 4.
Okay, so what are you aiming for? Let's say.
Aiming for a 3.8.
3.8, perfect.
Because that's what I had when I got out of high school. I'm going to keep it consistent.
Awesome. So this is high, of course. That's probably the main thing that's going to drive you towards getting there. And then, of course, your American Red Cross might be semi-high, right? It's still important, but I think getting that GPA is probably the most important thing for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that can be pushed a little bit, and the hours can change because math. So
exactly. Awesome. So then now we have this key result, right? This is going to be getting this nursing year one GPA of 3.8. Perfect. And by the way, you already start seeing, right? Like if you want to, in the future, let's say one of your cousins, one of your family members, one of your friends wants to become a nurse. You say, no problem. This is how you do it. You open up your goal, how to be a kick-ass nurse, right? This becomes your guide on how to be a nurse. You say, great, this is what you got to do. Extracurricular, 28 hours. Get a nursing first year GPA of this. How do you get that GPA? Well, let's open it up and then let's see exactly all the study strategies that you put in, all the different courses you took. Like whenever someone says it's so hard to teach other people things, this is where I kind of refer them is that if you have successfully planned out how you're going to accomplish it and you did the work to do it, there's no reason why you cannot explain it to someone else. So this is the secret sauce, at least for me, in terms of how you can teach others to do the good work that you do. So let's talk about that. We have a key result here of this is nursing year one, GPA 3.8. When does this start for you?
January.
Doesn't matter, just January 1st, whatever.
Yeah, just January. I was like January.
When does it end for you? So I guess one whole year, January 1st again, or is it not like that? Or the August?
Yeah, just put that for now.
Okay. Well, for now. So 1 year, right? You have 1 year to do this. Your due dates would be the Jan 1st, 2022, right? And then you haven't finished it yet. So your target number here is 3.8, okay? And your completed number right now, you don't know. So it's assuming it's 0, okay? But later on, as you continuously get more information on what your GPA actually is. So let me show you. So let's say it's in progress, right? And as you get more information into your GPA, let's say you're at like a 3.5 right now. You're at like 92%, for example. If you're at a 4.0, then obviously you're above the fold. You're already like really good. It's good. So I'm also going to be helping you calculate like how much more you need to get to where you need to go. So that's really super interesting.
I like that.
Perfect. So there's that. I'm going to erase all these things so it's not confusing, right? But yeah, so this is your key results, right? So let's talk about this. What are your courses this year to make up, what's going to make up this 3.8? Have you already decided on your courses?
My actual nursing courses are like the courses right now.
Well, since we're planning for the future, right? I guess this is your future.
Because I don't have that yet.
Okay. So I guess we're just assuming then. Well, let's assume some courses that you have to take. Or actually, just do the ones you have now, I guess. But you haven't, this is your pre-med stuff, right? Yeah.
yeah, to give you the courses that I have history.
Actually, do you have a goal for this year, like for your graduating year? Like what are what's the GPA that you want to graduate with? Like how about we do that? Because I want to do real results here.
Oh, what's the GPA that I want to graduate with?
Yeah. So right now, instead of year one GPA, let's
I want it
focus
to be a
on
3.8. Like,
yeah. So
wow.
let's focus on the graduating. So what do you call your year right now? It's bachelor's, right? So your graduating year GPA is going to be 3.8 as well. So I think this is better because this is real, right? This is what's happening right now,
Yeah.
and it's going to end soon. So it's really important. So this is
Yep.
pre nursing.
Yep.
Pre nursing, graduating. Oh, perfect. Oh, yes, Michael is a nurse. Michael
Hey,
is your nurse.
You're here. I was thinking like fundamentals. That's a big one. Med surge.
Yeah. So y'all can
My
talk
brain
about
is
that.
hurting already just thinking about it.
No
Help me,
problem.
Michael.
Okay, so cool. So when does this end, by the way? This pre-nursing graduating year?
This year, right?
So when does your last class end? Like, so you have 2 months left.
December 4th.
December. Let's just say December 1st. So you only have like only a bit of time actually.
Yeah, it's almost over.
Okay.
Dang.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. Okay, so let's use this as an example, and let's just say we're starting this now, which you can change obviously later on, right?
Right.
But this December and this is October, let's say 1st. Perfect. And then we're gonna say until December. Okay. All right. So we're saying that this is something that we want to do, and this is your key results, and we should speed this up because we're spending way too much time on this first point, and there's so much more to build
It's
still.
a lot.
Yeah.
I did not expect. Okay.
Okay. Projects. What are courses you're taking right now? Go.
Oh, history 1460.
History 1460. Go next.
Kines 2050.
Kinesiology 2 3. Sorry, I missed it.
2050.
2050. Awesome. Next.
PSCI 2030.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I have one more class, but that's fine.
Okay, these are obviously all in progress, right? These are all things you're working on, right? So these are all in progress. Okay, so what's the GPA you expect for each one? Let's just say.
Let's go with let's just keep the 3.8.
3.8 for everything. Awesome. Yeah. Very consistent.
I know that's not how math works, but I can think right now.
No problem. Okay, so I'm also gonna add the subtype here now because it's important. So subtype here, this is a course, right? So these are courses. So for each one, these are courses, so you can know it instantly. So for example, again, you're coming into your pre-nursing, graduating your GPA 3.8. How do you get that 3.8? Where you're gonna scroll down. These are the courses you're gonna do, and maybe you have impact levels for each one, right? Which one's the most important for you to finish? I don't know. I'm just gonna put randomly for now. You can come in later and you can fix it, but that's the whole idea, right? And then what we're going to do now is I'm just gonna focus on one. Let's just do kinesiology because we don't have time to go through all the other ones. But you do one, you understand the rest. So kinesiology, you want a 3.8, sure?
Yep.
And then, so this is your project, right? This is your project. So you have the 3.8 that you want, and right now, do you know where you're at roughly?
4.0.
Right, 4.0. Wow, perfect. You're already done.
I have 100%. Actually, I have 110% right now. So.
Wow, what the hell?
I know, there was an extra credit question, and I got all the questions right and the extra credit, so.
I'm proud of you. Awesome. So this is also going to end in December, right? So this is also going to end here. And then I want to show that, so for example, so this is your real grade. I'm going to have your estimated grade, and I'm going to have your real grade, and I'm going to explain what that means, okay? So when you have your estimated grade, so actually, for example, so what are things that you're trying to track right now to get done here? Like, give me one discussion, give me one assignment, and give me one exam.
Discussion for lecture 5, Connect Wellness worksheet, and then exam 2.
Okay, so what do you do for exam 2?
What do you, excuse, say that again?
What are you doing for exam 2? Like when you put that down, what task are you actually doing?
I'm doing my study guide for it.
Your study guide.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Okay, so we're saying that so this is a discussion, right? You gotta do. This is a wellness worksheet, so that's a assessment, and your exam is going to be your homework or exams. Which one is it?
Well, it's an exam, so it's an exam. But
Okay, but you're actually just studying, right? Studying.
yeah, well, I could just put that one as a study guide, and then
Okay, so you're
like
making a study
exam
guide.
2 would
You're
be
making a
like
study
a different
guide.
thing. Yeah.
Awesome, makes sense. Okay, so cool. So you have all these different things, and again, I'm just gonna focus on one thing for now, just so that we can get it through. But let's say you're building your study guide, right? So how long does making that study guide take usually for you? We're gonna add
Around
some
4 days.
around 4 days, right? Okay, so I mean, sorry, how many pomodoros?
How many Pomodoro's? Okay. 6, 7.
6 pomodoros. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're gonna make 6 pomodoros here.
Because I like to spread it out over a couple days so it doesn't look like so many Pomodoros all at the
No
same
problem.
time. Except for that one time when we studied together when I did all of those Pomodoros at the same time.
How many days are you gonna work on this? Let's say, for example, from the 5th to the 9th, right? You said a few days.
Mhm.
So exactly. So you have. So basically, this is how we're talking to ourselves, right? If we imagine the system talking to us,
Yeah.
we are creating a study guide for exam 2. Why? Because we want to have a GPA of 4.0 or 3.8 in Kinesiology 20050, and then we're gonna spend 5 days on it or 4 days on it from the 5th to the 9th. And when it's done, but it's actually gonna be due on the 9th, right? The 9th is when it's actually gonna be due. And then we're going to have a closing date whenever we actually do finish it, which is fine. And we might not have any target numbers or anything because we actually don't know, right? How much we got into this. Like, it's just a study guide. But yeah, so essentially now you have planned out exactly what you need to get done in the upcoming days, and you can say this is ready to start because you know you're ready to start it. Makes sense so far?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome. So what we're going to do now is we have to make the views, and that's why I wanted to rush through this because the view is the most important part for you, I think, right now. So I have two choices. I can either make the view into this page or I can make the view in another page. Let's just make the view in this page for now, and then we'll move it if we need to move it. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So let's talk about that view. What do you want out of that view? So let's talk about that. So we did this. We made these sub properties. This is a check mark. So what else are we doing here? What's the second thing we gotta do? Actually, let me open it up. So we explained. Oh, we even did this too. Perfect. We even did this too. So
Yeah, I
we
was like,
explained
no,
how.
we're going already.
Yeah. So perfect. We already had that in mind. So that's perfect. So we explained this. So how goals, key result, project tasks work in respect to schoolwork. So that's perfect. The next thing we want to discuss is we want to differentiate between school and work tasks. I think I think I'll do that as we
Yeah, just
go
do
along.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, do that later.
it's
Just
not too
added it
hard.
as a afterthought. Yeah.
Okay, so due
These are
dates
the
and
big
due dates
ones
we already
that I need.
finished. Yeah, so we finished this one, the due dates and due dates. So this one is done. Next, we're talking about calendar views, how much scores, the views for tomorrow. Okay, awesome. So tell me which inspo you want me to open, and I think we can build that view now.
Okay, wait. So are we doing the C views one?
Up to you. Views. I think the views
Because
is important.
that's like important to me. Like the
Okay, sure.
calculating, yeah. Because
Yeah.
the
So
calculating
views first.
grades is I
Anyone
guess
can
like
do it. Yeah, anyone can
yeah.
do it.
Anyway,
Awesome.
so
Okay,
there
views.
is some for the college hub template, and then the calendar view and the class, not the class view, the due dates are also ones. So where it says like this week right there.
Sorry. Do you want me to go down there first or focus here first?
I was talking about the college hub template.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
like
ahead.
where you
Yeah,
at? Like just stop.
yeah, not moving.
Yeah, where it says this week and that type of thing. Like that's one of the views that I want, where like you can see like what you have for this week, where you're like, man, I'm swamped this week. I can't like fit in some kind of social thing this week, or oh, I only have a couple things this week. Yeah, so that's one of the views that I really want, that I've tried to create myself, and that has not worked out well. But like in this one, it's kind of missing that I want today, and I want tomorrow, and then I want the week.
And
If
you
you
only
understand.
want to see the task, correct? You don't care about
Yes.
projects. You only want to see the tasks that are coming up this week. Cool. Let's
Hmm.
start there. I think we can already do that. So I'm going to go into this dashboard for Keep It Simple, because that's where I like to do all the executional work anyway. So in the Keep It Simple, and yeah, guys, we are having, I guess I see people asking
Do
about the template.
it.
This is all going to be delivered to you guys
Oh,
for 5 lucky people who have been watching from the beginning to the end and really want this template. And of course, just if you watch to the end, we'll have instructions on how you can get that. And so you can also enjoy what we're doing here. So that's exciting. Okay, so my make life simple is usually my executionable, like everyday work. Like this is like everything that I do on a day by day basis, and usually I just want to see like things that are either due tomorrow. So this is my today tomorrow view. You can call it that. This is my today view actually, and I'm my tomorrow. My tomorrow I try not to even have here. This is purely my today view. Okay, if you want to think of it that way. So this is where you can be extremely focused, and you can focus on what you want to get done. You want one, is it on the same page or on the other page for the planning where you can see the week to come? Like, where would you want this to be? Because we also have another page here in the Keep It Simple dashboards where we talk about, the structure planning where we can see the weeks to come as well. So I am curious, like, which one, like, how you see that happening.
I like seeing it all in one page, just so I don't have to keep clicking on things.
Right. So you want just a quick view to see what's coming up in the week.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of want to see. I want it to be super optimized, where I'm like, okay, I know what I can do today. Okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? All right, what is for this week? Then I can get it and get out and do the things I need to do.
Got it. Okay, no problem. So let me do it this way then. This I like doing it this way, and you'll understand why. So I'm gonna add a toggle. So today, like I'd rather have all of them in
In toggles,
in
so they can be
toggles.
hidden away when you
Yes,
don't need them.
yes.
Yeah,
Instead
I
of like
tried
individual
that,
views.
but
Yeah,
like I didn't have the actual database correct, so it didn't work. So
no
you
problem.
can
So I'll
do
do this.
better.
I'll do it now. Yeah. So we have today. We have tomorrow. And then so today what basically matters is I'm seeing if the due date is on or before today, right? That I want to do it today. And then or everything in progress. So the tomorrow view basically is just the same thing, right? Because I just duplicated the view here. But instead of this, I'm just going to change it on or before tomorrow. So that's super easy. But do you also want to filter out the things that you already see today? That's my question.
Yes, I do.
So you want to be specifically like, this is the view to see things tomorrow and not today. Like things that I'm already doing today, forget it. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, just because it would be kind of redundant as well. And
Okay,
if you
so
wanted to see like strictly for tomorrow, yeah, and then it would make it easier, like if you needed to move something to tomorrow, because that's what I do all the time, where I'm like, I can't finish this thing today. I put too much on my plate today. Let me just move it to the tomorrow.
moving it to tomorrow. That's good. I want to say that. Okay, so the views. Okay, so the tomorrow view, you have to be able to move to tomorrow basically, and it should not. So specs tomorrow
Mobile
view
friendly too, exactly. Yeah.
specifications.
I use Notion on my phone as well, so that's
Oh
why I
yeah.
like toggles as well. So I can just like, I don't want to see this week for right now on my phone.
I
Let
can
me
show
just hide
you
that.
guys a really cool view on my phone. Like that after all this is done, like you guys are gonna be able to see how it looks on the phone because I have really awesome ways on how to do that. So tomorrow view specifications, you want to be able to move it to tomorrow. You want to be able to not see today things, right? Obviously. But for the week to come things, you're gonna see all of them. That's fine,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Obviously,
fine.
that there's no way that I
Because
can.
then I can have like a full thing of like, shoot, did I miss doing that on the Monday? Oh,
Sure.
now I have to do that, and then I can move it to a today, in case I need to move something up or
Awesome.
move something down. If it's not that important.
Okay, so this is on tomorrow. So we already have this really well. So status is tomorrow, and then we have quest here. So I wanted to ask you also about the calendar view. What did you like about the calendar view here? And is there a today tomorrow thing there? No, right? I don't think so.
For this particular view, I like using it kind of like how I used to use Google Calendar a lot. So it was really good to see kind of just how many assignments that I had this entire month.
Okay. Calendar
And
view for
that kind of
tasks only.
thing. And I think it would also be cool to have like a calendar view which would show me like if I like when I completed things and if I completed them on time, to see like, hey, was I on track this month? Or like, no, I was always late by a day, because sometimes that would happen to
So
me.
you can
where,
see like late or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
would be like, okay, so I've got to start planning better. I've got to start allocating my time a little bit better. Or, oh, I was really good this weekend. I should reward myself with like some candy or something.
Yeah. Did you find on the dashboard that we had that for like your wins this week and all that? You found that already, right?
Yes, I really like that.
Awesome. So this is just an augmentation of that, which I like a lot as well, actually. So this is I've just made a new view. This is for calendar views. So this is for the calendar bird's eye, right?
Yeah, and I also just like the calendars because it gives you even more, like, just in case like like an exam's coming up, but it's not like this week. So you're like, when is
But
it?
do you want to see the
actually
due dates, or do you want to see the so for example, if you see the DO dates, this is what's going to show. For example, the kinesiology thing. But
I would much rather see the DUE.
Yeah, awesome. So what I'm going to show here is I'm going to show I don't need to show anything, but I need to remove the details. So you can see the punctuality, which is awesome. You need to see the subtype. So this is an exam. For this one, there's also upstream masters, that's fine. Subtype up here, punctuality goes above that. Awesome. So what we're filtering on here is we're going to be, or not filtering on, but what we're going to have the property on. Where is this? Filter, sort, search. Calendar by DUE dates. So you can see this is your calendar view, right? To show everything. That's going to give you a bird's eye view. And I'll show this later as well, because I think that's important. But right now, let's focus on the today, tomorrow to make sure it's what you want. And then we're going to move on to the week, okay?
Okay.
Cool. So let's build something that is going to be for tomorrow. So for example, if I'm on this on deck and I already had this, project that's in progress, I believe, right? This kinesiology. So let's say you wanted to do this, not that's due, but you wanted to do this tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to do this tomorrow, this would be ready to start, but the due dates is going to be tomorrow, which for me is Sunday already because I'm already in Saturday. So let's say that's high. So what happens in this Make Life Simple is that you should have it show up here in this. So let me just refresh it by closing the toggle, opening it up again. So you see you have a discussion for lecture 5 that's ready to start, right? It's 0 gold. Why? Because we haven't actually made it a quest yet.
We haven't put anything in it.
Yeah, so now it's a quest. How long will it take, this discussion? How many Pomodoros?
It'll take 10 minutes, so not even a Pomodoro.
Okay, well, then I can actually even show you something else, right? Let's make this a 5-minute task, right? So the 5-minute task.
5-minute task.
And then we'll do
That's like
2.
the only reason I use those. It's just for the discussions.
Awesome. But my point of view also is that if it takes 10 minutes, you should just do it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, you don't need to write it down. But anyway.
But it would just get lost in all of my assignments. Like it wouldn't show up sometimes, and I'm like, shoot, now I can't. I have to just remind myself to do the discussion, even though it's so easy.
That makes sense. Okay, so this is a discussion. It's ready to start, and it gives you 10 gold. Does that help?
Yep.
So this is kind of your tomorrow view. And of course, you can do the same thing here in the quest where you can see, you can even set that priority for yourself. You're like, okay, well, tomorrow, what priority will that be? Will that be my first priority tomorrow? Would that be my second priority tomorrow? Or would that be my third priority tomorrow, right?
Right.
And I can even also add another subtype here for yourself. And again, it's just up to you. The subtype, like if you don't have that kind of level of distinction in your system, and I'm talking to everyone else out there, like you might not need this, right? That's if you do need the
Right.
subtype, then you can have it there. And of course you can assign like, hey, my priority tomorrow, my first thing is going to be discussion for lecture 5. And as a fun example here, you can see that I have a bunch of stuff here, right? That are the quests that I already initially had that are either really late for me to do. And you said, okay, one of your requirements is I want to drag things that I was supposed to do today to tomorrow, right? Let's push it forward. Great. So let's say I want to research 3 types of meditation exercises. And again, this is not to do with school, but just to life in general. You push it in there, you press cancel, and then you can see that the due date changes to tomorrow. So done, just like that. And if you want to change it back to something you want to do today, just move it back in, and then it changes back to today's the due date. So it's really easy for you to drag around. And on top of that, the last thing you can do is like, let's say you did finish a thing that you wanted to do, you drag it into this table down here, this completion table, and then boom, it says you completed it, it's on time, and it's done, right? Or if I undo that, right? Let's say this was actually inside the tomorrow view instead, right? And then so the due date is tomorrow, but then I finished it anyway. Let's say I dragged it down. Boom, you're early by 1 day. So, oh, sorry, no one can see that. Yeah, sorry, boom, you're early by 1 day. Our face was in the way. But yeah, so when you drag it down, it's early by 1 day since the due date was tomorrow. But then if I actually had it inside this where the due date was October 3rd, and I dragged it into here, so I drag it in, you can see that it's on time instead of early. So that's the really beautiful part of the system, is that it's so flexible, so modular, and just within 5 minutes of actual building, we got it to this stage, right? So I wanted to share that. So that's today tomorrow view. All good? No complaints about what that does?
I like it. So
Perfect.
good.
Let's go week view now. Okay, so week view. So for me, the week view actually should be more in the... Well, anyway, we can have it in both. It's up to the user, so I'm not gonna say what you should or should not do. But okay, so for this, we want a week view. So the due date is going to be is on or before next week, 1 week from now. So this is going to show you everything. So it's going to include your tomorrow stuff. It's going to include your today stuff, right? But it's also going to include everything after tomorrow that you've already assigned that, hey, these are the due dates you got to do. But this one's actually the easiest one. I don't think I have to change anything. That's it. That's basically it. This is it. I'm going to filter this, and I'm going to say is on or before 1 week from now, not ago, from now. Or 1 week from now, not 1 month from now. Awesome. And then I saw in your example, okay, I'm gonna explain why I don't do this, why I remove the subtype. Okay, I'm gonna explain why. I'm also gonna do it here. I'm going to explain why real quick. So I noticed that okay, I noticed that inside this example, they show the day that you gotta do it, right? They show that the course that it's for. They show what the subtype that it is, and of course you can check mark and all those things, but they don't show the gold because that's our thing. But
yeah, that's our thing.
I want to explain a bit why, at least for list views, I personally don't like having too many things there. And the reason is because when you're in your mobile view, and I'm going to show you how my mobile view looks right now, but the reason is because when you're in your mobile view, you actually end up having issues with views that are that have too many things in the list view, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So for me, let's say for example, so let me go into my Keep It Simple dashboards. Keep life simple. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, my my I'm going to share my phone with my computer. Give me a quick second. And this is something that I wanted to do last time. I think if you guys remember, like I was doing some like real janky stuff where I was like, oh, this is my phone, you guys can see this.
I thought you were gonna do that again. I was like,
No, no, it was right after the call that I realized that I knew exactly how to share my screen, how to share my phone screen on my computer. So that was super frustrating. I was like, it was like a minute away for me to be able to share you guys how to do that.
It's okay. We're here now. We're here now.
We're
We've
here
leveled
now.
up.
I've leveled up, guys. Every day, level up. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so I'm going to add a new window capture. That's going to be for my phone. So let me bear with me for a second. This is gonna be fun. So this is called my phone capture. I'm gonna add a new. Awesome. And then I'm going to, so you guys can see my phone, but of course I'm gonna crop this a bit so you guys can see only my phone. Like this. And then like this. Yeah, you guys can see my ruminations live. Okay, so you guys can see that scroll, right? I'm gonna make this bigger as well. So it's gonna be right here. So you guys can see exactly what the heck I'm doing. I don't know if I can make that. Awesome. So this is my phone, right? So this is the same view as if I go to my right side, and this is my make life simple, and I'm going to untoggle things, right? Just to show you guys on here. So the beauty of like phone screens is that like everything becomes like toggled to begin with. So you see all the new views I have, like today, tomorrow, whatever, calendar, bird's eye, that's all toggled to begin with. And if I show the today, right? If I show like the list view, it already shows in progress and it shows the gold. And if I show like the tomorrow, for example, I can change from my view for the table to the list, and I can see that the discussion for lecture 5 is there. But the second that if I add for the tomorrow view, for example, if I make it so that it also shows the subtype and also the upstream, right? So let's say, for example, I show the upstream now, which is going to be the...
yeah, I usually limit the amount of properties that I can see in list views as well.
100%, exactly. So I just want to show you guys just to make sure that you guys can see it too. So like, let's say I add that. So that becomes there, and then the +10 becomes truncated. You see this? The +10 becomes like kinesiology becomes there. It's all like it doesn't look as nice as it should be. It's my opinion. So if I remove that, then basically it drops down to that, and that makes it more clear. And of course, you can always just open it up and you can see what this is all about, right? And you can see all the properties about it. So for me, this is really easy for me to like really focus and say, okay, so today these are the things I got to do. If I want to navigate to any other parts of my life, this is how I can do it. So on the phone, it's super, super easy to essentially navigate and use, and yeah, make life simple. That's the whole idea. So I'm gonna stop sharing that. Let's hide my phone capture. Let's close that and let's stop that. Okay, so next, we want to do the calendar view, correct? So we have the today, we have the tomorrow, we have next this week, and then calendar bird's eye is going to be here, where I think this is actually pretty simple. Like we just gotta show the subtype. We want to show the status of it. We want to show like the how late have you been, even for things that you've completed. But since we don't have a lot of content here, that's why this isn't showing. But this should pretty much be it. Is there anything else that you want to see in this view? Like I'm just referring back to this guy. I don't think anything else you're missing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just as long. My big things were kind of like for example, if you were to like write it all down, like what would be the most important things for you? So I would, because for me, I like to take a syllabus and put it all in, put every single date in, put whatever I need, put all the types. So that's kind of why I wanted to have that calendar view, so I can kind of see that gratification and see like everything. Like if I wanted to know what I wanted to do for November, I could see it and I could flip through and I could see all of them. And the big things for me was, of course, the due dates, the the class it was for. And I think the most important is like if it's an exam, I would hope that I would know that that's when the exam would come by. um, Things like discussions aren't too bad, but I think that that's why I wanted like that subsection,
Hmm.
because exams are really really important. And if I have like some kind of assessment that doesn't really have a name, like Connect Wellness Worksheet is an assessment in kinesiology, and we do have check-ins for have you done a workout this week. So I feel like
And those are all
that,
things that could be like tasks, I'm sure.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all tasks in the same way,
Yeah.
but it's just like how much weight, how, and it's also something that I did for scholars, that they kind of show you your calendar view, and they also kind of show you like let's say you want to slack off for a week, or you want to like do something with a friend for a week.
Mm.
You can they'll kind of like show you like, oh, here's your week with the most things, don't do it this week, try this week instead. And that's kind of like what I'm like want to imitate with this calendar view, like this week I have the 3 things to do and I have 2 exams, maybe let's not go to the movies that week or something like that.
Yeah. So I think to help you with that journey, and also I see a bunch of questions coming out in the chat, so I'll answer those too. But to help you in the journey, like my take on this is, so let's go through each of these properties that we're showing, because I want to break it down and make it easy for people to understand, right? So what we have is, first, your progress. Is it complete or is it not complete? Or is it ready to start? Is it backlog? So you get a feeling of like, hey, how many things I have ahead of me that I haven't even started on? Very super
Right.
important in my opinion. So that's the first thing. Then you have the subtype, the distinction. Like, is this an exam? Is this something that's, is a discussion? Is it, whatever?
Yeah.
And maybe that could even be on the bottom. Maybe that's like, maybe we'll resort that and make that into the bottom. I'm not too sure. It's really up to you. Again, once
Yeah,
you figure
I
out how
think
to do
it's
this,
that's not like
yeah.
because your eye goes from top to bottom. So I feel like the things that I would want is the title of the actual task and what class it's for, and if it's complete would be
Oh, so
the top
class is
3.
next. You want the classes next, right?
Yes,
Okay,
I
cool.
need to know what class it is for.
Okay, so class is next.
Because I have
Punctuality.
3 classes that do discussions. If it just says discussion, I won't know what it's for.
Yeah. And then punctuality, where would you put that?
Um,
Right after the gold, or so I wanted to put the gold too, so that it would indicate like how difficult of a task it is. Because for me, gold is like the indicator of how difficult the task it is.
yeah, maybe just put the gold, and then since the wins technically have punctuality, do we
Ooh, you
technically
know
need that?
what will be interesting here? I can just make a. Okay, so this is where I'm teaching you guys something cool, right? So I have a formula for details that is basically showing me like exactly. It's a pretty complex formula, but all it is just showing me details of what I want to show. Like, it's just basically a property for me to dump other properties in to show something really cool, like to show information that I want to see. Right now it's showing me 6 times clock, and that doesn't mean shit to me. I'm sorry, like for swearing, but like that doesn't mean anything to me right now. So I'm like, wow, that's useless. Okay,
Yeah.
so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually make it so that oh, it's because I sliced it, huh? Okay, I had a reason for this. Sorry, I had a reason for this. But okay, but for now, let me just show you how I would modify this. But I did have a reason. It was a good reason. But let me show you guys how I'd modify it.
It's like everything that I think about. It comes and then it's gone immediately.
Yeah. So if the type is a task, right, then I want to show that this is a. Oh, because I was doing the how many pomodoros this is gonna be.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Okay. No, that's actually important.
that is important, but like it doesn't make sense when you just put 6.
Yeah.
When you're just looking
Okay.
at it
Well,
without
how about this? Like, what I was planning to show was actually showing like, let me just add the punctuality here. So I'm gonna add the punctuality here.
is laughing at us.
Dee's laughing. Okay, so I want to add the punctuality here, which is this plus, and then I'm going to plus. Okay, so for now, I'm gonna do something like that just to show you guys, but obviously I can on my own time make it a bit better. What happens is now if I show details instead, I can remove punctuality and I can also remove gold reward because it already is telling me like how many days to go and also how many pomodoros I'm doing. So this one you can see it's a lightning round, right? 2 times lightning, which means that it's going to be just like 10 minutes. For this one, it's 6 times pomodoros, which means it could be 3 hours basically. So it's really up to you how you want to like distinguish these things. And I think it's just really cool that you could do all those things in Notion. And it took me like 2 seconds just now. Obviously, I have expertise, I have knowledge, but I want to share that you guys can have that expertise and knowledge too. So it's not just like, magic. Yeah, someone asked me also like, how do I share screen, share phone? There is a utility on Windows called Windows Connect. It's totally free. If you have an Android phone, you can connect to that, and you can essentially share on your screen. And if you use OBS, which is what we're using to share our beautiful faces, the screen, and our phone, then you can just capture that window and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I might teach you guys that on another live stream for like how to set up a live stream. Cool. Okay, speeding up through this, I think that's cool. We have this done. So we have tomorrow, we have move to tomorrow, we have not see today things, and for the week we have that too. We have even a calendar view. So calendar view, and just to confirm, it's only for due dates, right? You only wanted to see calendar view for due dates.
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. And of course, you can add more.
Because I feel like if we were gonna do like technically both, it would do the whole thing where it would like show like an entire week or something. You know what I'm saying? So it would literally be like I would have my entire week blocked out, and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing things every day.
Yeah. Okay. So perfect. And I think again, like back to the main picture, right? Like I just want, like for me at least personally, and this is where everyone has a different way of seeing this, is like I only want to look at what I want to do today. If I look at anything else, I'll be frustrated. So I do that. And then maybe at the end of the day, I'll say, what do I want to do tomorrow, right? And then I can schedule that out and no problem. And then, this week, no problem. These are things I have to go for this week, and I can see all that stuff as well. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. This is good. And I think it's useful for everyone as well. I really
wish this was around when I was in my first days of nursing school. This is why I'm making this, okay? I'm coming in and I'm going to be ready, okay? I don't want to be that unorganized nurse that's coming in first day. No, that's not going to happen. I refuse.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Differentiate between work and school tasks. I think this is interesting, and this is going to be like a special part of the system where I guess if people want this, you can take it. Otherwise, just ignore it, because I'll be just distributing this with everything as well. But what you could do, right? What you could do is, actually, let me ask you first. Do you care about that, Elisa? Do you want that? Like that differentiator between work and school task?
I want that for me because I do have a part-time job, but
okay.
It's not always necessary for everybody. Like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this job when I'm in nursing school. I don't know. I might be in pain for most of it. So I may can just delete it or something.
Okay. So what I could suggest, and this is a suggestion, so I'm just doing it live, which I may or may not include in the template because it will just infinitely make things more complex for people that don't want this kind of complexity, is if I duplicate this, if I duplicate this, so I have 2 mental health equals mental wealth, right? Doesn't really matter. Let's say this is for, classes. Let's make something funny. Classes equals, I don't know, something memey, something like funny to say. Like what can we say about classes to make it funny? Just give me something.
I'm not gonna riff it, all right? It's my pain.
Study. I don't know. Lifelong learners. I don't know. This is boring. You figure out something better later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
How about you guys in the chat? In the chat, you let me know what kind of funny thing, like go get that bread,
Oh my gosh. Okay, no, a story, tiny story. Annette, hey Annette, they're my 2 nursing friends. What up? Every single day when we were in first year, when we were in our first year of college, Annette would say, "Let's go get this bread," or "Let's go get that bread." Every single time we would go into like a test, and it's so funny. Sorry about. I just wanted to say it because I appreciate you guys for coming. Thank you. for
How's
everybody.
this? Do you see what I wrote?
Do I want a degree? Like, yes! Do I want a degree or just a snack?
My gosh. Okay. So yeah, so for example, right? So I just duplicated this view, and this is where I'll also explain, like, this is where you can put more tables if you want to manage work tasks, etc. So for example, like, this is going to be a specific view. So this is a specific view for school tasks only. Okay. So what happens are for school,
Yeah, like separate them because like
yeah,
I wouldn't want them to be like together and stuff like that. I just think it like if we had too much time, I just added that to be like, yeah, you want to do more things? Here
no
you go.
worries. So what happens here is, like, I'm adding one more filter here that says the subtype, okay? The subtype
Yeah.
contains, and you can choose, right? If it's going to be courses, discussion, assessment, exams, homework, then it would show up here. Does that make sense? So it has to show it, like, for the ones in this view, it has to have these things. Or if you already have a subtype that's all schooling, for example, right? It's not empty. So then this will only show you everything that is a subtype of, like, it's only, it has to have a subtype, which then for you means that it's for schooling. Does that make sense?
You're right.
Or actually, what we could even do, I like this better. I like this idea better. Let me go to the tomorrow view where we had this one. So it's a discussion, but I also want to add, so subtype is school and discussions. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So it could
So-
be a multi-select and then
So then what
Yeah.
I'm doing is, instead of
it
saying
would
it's not
be a lot
empty,
better than adding like an
contains,
entirely new property.
yeah, so it contains school. And then I'm
Yeah.
gonna also add here, and subtype, let's say, contains school. So perfect. So it'll only show you the things that where subtype contains school. And for here too, I'm gonna do a filter, and subtype here contains, and this is really interesting too, because if you have work tasks as well, this is how you can separate your work tasks from now on. Like,
Yeah.
everyone has asked me, like, how do you separate work tasks, etc. All you have to do now is just duplicate this view, and then you can have all your work tasks just like that. Like, you just need to, separate them like that. So I can add this filter on here as well. So, and subtype is going to be contains school here as well, and subtype contains school. And then I'm going to remove this view for this quest. Well, I mean, you could keep it if you want it. I don't know. It's up to you guys. I'll just leave it there for you guys, but I personally won't use this. But for example, if I just make this a bit better, so I want details, I don't need punctuality, and I might want subtype here. So subtype. So this is, you can see the things that you scheduled to do, right?
Mhm.
So this is subtype. Yes. Okay, so here's that, and then so you only see school stuff now in here, as I mentioned. Same thing for this view. So, but once I built this, all you have to do is just change the filter for the subtype from now on. So I'm making it really easy for you guys to customize and improve on this system. And again, it's totally yours. I'm not planning to say, like, hey, this is the only way you can do to study, this is the only way you can do work. No, everyone has their own way, right? Everyone has their own
Yeah.
prerogative on how work works for them in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and I just like to emphasize, like, you don't have to use that whole school work thing. Like, you don't. You can always just delete that and then delete the not the property. Please don't do that.
The view,
It's
the
not
view, the
subtype.
view. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
The view, the subtype, all those things. Yeah. So this is really cool too. So this filter can say, hey, I only want the ones that are subtype school as well. So
Yeah,
subtype.
so what is my school schedule and what's my work schedule? And if I need to move things.
Yeah, and then you have that one where you can see everything, which is great.
Yeah, that'd be really good for people who like shifts and stuff and like things to do.
Yeah. Awesome. So because we just made that change, what I'm going to do, so let's make this green.
This is some next level. You right.
So there's that. And then, so what I'm going to do here is everything that we tagged with, everything that we were building for Elisa, for being a kick-ass nurse and all this stuff, so let's add the right things here. So we have the pre-nursing graduating year. So this is actually going to be a school thing if you want to tag it that as well. So this could have a subtype of school if you want, right? And then you can see everything downstream. So subtype courses, of course, but of course, but you also want to have school and course. So what I can do is copy, paste. So now they're all of school there as well. And then for the one that we did for kinesiology, we can then go and we can say, hey, these are all things that are school discussions, school and exams, and this is school assessments.
In case somebody came in late, you can always rewatch this video, which is exactly what I'll do when I'll go through the other classes and just rewatch this video that I was in.
Yeah, well, yeah, if we went a bit fast, just feel free to watch the VOD again, the recording. Yeah, the whole idea is that, yeah, this is extremely flexible. It's all for you. I think the last thing that we haven't built yet is so we did this already. So the last thing we haven't built yet was calculate how much you need to score to get the grades that you want. I think it's interesting because a lot of people have like a separate like Excel spreadsheet for that, and I just think like it'd be a lot more meaningful.
Apps and stuff like that.
Yeah, apps and stuff, right? But like you could definitely build this in. So my example is this, like how I would use it. Again, I'm not a current student, so I don't have like the best opinion. So this is where I would refer to you guys as the expert opinions, right? And just share how I would do it. So the idea would be like, okay, so let's say you have kinesiology. Again, we just keep using that as an example. You wanted the 3.8, and you currently have a 4. This is just your own numbers. That's totally fine. But I want to also add in like tasks that are also going to be representative of what you got on that exam, if that makes sense. So what we can do here, and again, I'm just thinking on this live on the spot, so there might be better ideas. I'm happy to hear that. But let's say, for example, give me like one assessment that is going to be like graded. Is the Connect Wellness worksheet an assessment that's going to be graded?
It was graded, yes.
Okay.
The one that I just finished.
Sure. And then also the exams. Okay, let's use the exam for example as well. I want at least two things. Okay.
Because assessments are a little bit odd because some of them are like 25 points, some of them are 30. Like it gets complicated. So exams, 100 points. That's the max.
Okay, so exams. Let's say so exam A, exam B. Like how do you distinguish between different exams? Midterms.
For some classes they call it midterms, but usually for kinesiology it's just exam 1, exam 2, exam 3. So.
Okay, exam 1 kinesiology, right? 2050, I think that's what we're doing here. 2050? Yeah, okay, cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call this school and we're gonna call this graded. Okay, I'm gonna add a new thing called graded. This is important. Okay. This is also assessment. This is graded as well. So this is good now. We're explaining why we need so many subtypes. So let's say that this is. So I want to add weightage as well. So do you know how much each exam is weighted, or do you only know like overall all the exams how much they're weighted?
Do you mean like how
weighted averages?
Like how many?
Like how much percentage is this assessment worth in your overall grade? Does that make sense?
I think so. I mean, I understand that some of the teachers do it by percentage, but most of my teachers do it like by points.
So every grade, every assessment counts towards your points? Yes.
So basically, let's say I have 3 exams, that would be 300 points for the and then they get their percentage like that. I would have to look at the syllabus, so I really wanted to figure that out.
That's interesting. So the way I used to have it when I was in school was that like, assessments would take up like maybe 30% of your grade. Labs will take up like 20%. And let's say, exams will take out like 50%, and you have like some tutorial stuff that will take up the rest, right? Like
they do it that way as well, but they also give you a point view of it and how to look at it by points. So my brain is not good with like percentages, so I usually just go by points.
Okay. So Let me kind of throw in, I guess, how I would think about it, at least from what I know, and then of course everyone can then say, no, this doesn't work for me. This is not me. You're dumb. I'm like, okay, sure, you guys do it. But I'll give you the structure. I'll give you the structure on how to do it. I think that's what I want to help you guys with. So, what we're missing here is a weighted average. So I gotta add something called. Oh, actually, let me just duplicate the number property. I'm gonna duplicate this number property. Let's call this the weighted average. So weightage, actually, let's just call it the weightage. And for me, the weightage basically explains like how much is this exam going to be weighed in the whole grand scheme of things. Okay. And usually how that works for me is like I look at the syllabus and it says, okay, there's gonna be 3 exams, and in total exams make up 30% of your grade. So therefore,
Right.
one exam is 10%, right? Obvious math.
Mhm.
Okay. So if one exam is 10% of your grade, then the weightage here is 10%. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So if the weightage here is 10%, so let's put that 10%, then basically, if my target here is going to be, let's say, a 4.0, right? Or actually, let's make it, it's fine, it's okay. Let's say your target is 4.0, or do you get like percentages on your exams? Are they percentages? Like it's not a GPA. A GPA is at the end.
Yeah,
When you-
GPA is at the end.
Okay.
You get point value and percentage, basically, the way that they look at it. So you can just do it by percent.
Sure, no problem. Let's say for your exam 1 for kinesiology, you got like an 80%, okay? So basically, in this progress bar shows that, don't worry about that right now, we're going to fix that, because it does, obviously you finished it, but it's just that you got an 80% on it, which is fine. Actually, you can even just look at it like this, like if it's school and that's 80, then that's how you can think of it. That's also fine for you as well. But what I want to show you is, if this is 80% and this weightage is 10, that means that overall, you have 8% in your course so far, out of 100. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we can do now is if we go back to the key results, the projects of kinesiology, right? I'm going to make a formula that says that right now you have that right now I want to look downstream and I only want to see. So right now I have a downstream progress, right? Progression thing. Where
Great that you're
this is
talking about this, because I was just looking at these upstreams and downstreams and I didn't understand what any of them meant, so I just ignored them.
No worries. Well, this is basically just telling you like, hey, what is the, like, normally, right? A normal task, a normal project, it's made of like the project completion is made of the downstream progress. So what I mean by this is, for example, if I go to here, oh, whoa, I have a lot of stuff here. Oh wait, sorry, this doesn't make sense anymore. I'll fix that. But essentially, what happens is if I have, this be a kick-ass nurse, I'm seeing the downstream. I'm rolling up the percentages of completion of each thing below it, so I can at least have a gauge of how far along I am to becoming a kick-ass nurse. So basically, that's how I'm currently doing the math to roll up information to bring up to everybody, right? And what we're doing here now is I'm specifying what information to roll up if you're determining that it is a school key results, a school project, school whatever. Does that make more sense?
I think so, yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, you'll get there. Actually, let
We'll
me
get
also
there.
fix this here because I want to show you guys how this is fixed. The reason why this is happening is because there's 2 punctualities that's being shown, because I said that as long as it's not a well, I mean, then this is very easy. Then I can just say run this has slice this. Okay, I did plus difficulty level. I have a plus punctuality somewhere. Okay, so basically I want to save only if it's going to be only if it's going to be a task. Interesting. So what happens here if I add this? Okay, sorry, I'm just like tweaking some things. I'm really curious as well myself on what's happening here. Let me take a quick look. If I add a difficulty level, does that show up here? No, it doesn't. So basically what I'm investigating here is if I have
Same
a
and closing my eyes on the formula, just not there yet. What a mood.
No worries. I'm trying to teach you guys formulas too, and I know we're running over time. Hopefully we can end like 5 minutes past the hour, because we're very
Yeah.
close to finish. But I
Yay, we're so
wanted to,
close.
we're so close. But I wanted to kind
I
of
didn't think
show
we
this.
finished everything.
Yeah, no, we finished a lot of cool stuff. But I wanted to show this too because it's a good chance for me to work through a formula bug live, so that you guys can also learn from that experience. Because I think that's really important, and I appreciate the opportunities to share these concepts with you guys. So that's why I want to make sure you guys are aware of how I would solve a bug like this. So basically, I can see that right now. If the difficulty level is not empty, then I'm going to show this information. But then the interesting thing about this is that I actually have some kind of big overarching thing where this whole thing is skipped, but yet this is not skipped. I'm very curious why this is not skipped, you see. Like right now, if I remove this formula here, that reduces, which is fine. You know what? I got it. So all I need to do is at this end, just do this. Perfect. And then I need to also remove this.
We just can't forget to do the big part of this stream.
The big part of the stream?
The finale.
Finale. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. So I just fixed it. If you guys caught that, basically I just made sure that the if statement had nothing at the end. So because I was already putting in the punctuality into it, so I don't need to have it again at the end. So that's pretty simple actually. Okay, let's figure out what this is. So for the let's say the pre-nursing year GPA 3.8, right? We're saying that this needs to be done. So this is 59 days to go. So you only have 2 months to graduate with this. Congratulations. But basically, like, we don't need weightage here. But what we do need is, because we have the downstream average and the downstream progress here that just basically reads off the downstream average. I only want this downstream average to read if it's going to be on the only if it's going to be. So basically I have a sum. So I have one more thing here, and this is only specifically for students. So if you're not a student, you can delete this property in the future, okay? I'm just telling that up front. The student property is this, and it's going to be called downstream sum. And I think later I can even make this a bit smarter, but for now I'm just going to make it like this. So what I'm doing
watching
here,
genius happen, you guys.
what I'm doing here is I'm going to roll up. So right now we have downstream average. So instead of downstream average, we're going to do downstream sum, which means I want the downstream, and I want the percentage progress. No, I don't want percentage progress. I want something different. So let me open this up in a new tab. Actually, let me just find that task. So, where is that task? Okay, let's open this in a new tab so I can open that up. And I want to find my project here. That's nursing year, pre-nursing GPA. This is the same one. And then I'm going to open up this little project here. And it might get confusing now because I'm just showing you how to build it. But once it's built, you don't have to worry about it. That's the main idea, is that once it's built, don't worry about it. It's already there. So what's happening here is I'm trying to build a downstream sum relation, which means that I need actually another property here that is going to give me only the math for that. Okay, so we're gonna say weighted average. Okay, so let's make this into a number. So what happens here is, so we already said that weighted average here. Okay, perfect. So we're going downstream. We're going to our exam 1. And then we have this we want to open kinesiology here. So we're focusing on kinesiology in exam 1, as we talked about. And then right here, we said that we finished 80% of 100. So we got an 80% average here, but the weightage is actually only 10%, which means that we actually got a weighted average. And this is where you're going to do your math. This is a formula. The formula here is that we want to have the closing number divided by the target number. So, target divided by closing. So target number divided by closing number, and we can test our, completed number. So we can check what that number looks like right now. So that's at 1.25, which is so wrong. Sorry, other way around. My math is completely off the charts here. Target number.
Everybody, after like
80%.
all this genius happens, you're good. Like you can learn a little bit of formulas, but you don't need to be at this level all the time every day.
Okay, so do you have 80% right now, right? So what I want to find out is what is the actual weighted average, which then you multiply by the weightage. Does that make sense, guys? In terms of math, if that doesn't make sense, I'll explain it. But basically, right now you have 8. So then this whole thing, then you have to multiply by 100 times 100. What you have right now is 8%. 8% is your actual moment. Actually, what I can do, let's even make this easier. Let's just make this a percentage. So I don't have to multiply by 100. So it already does that automatically. So right now your weighted average is 8%. Because if this entire exam is worth 10% of your grade, then basically this is 8% so far. And if you go to kinesiology, what I'm doing here is I'm now having a roll up here that says, okay, so I have this downstream for students only. I only want to see the weighted average here, and I want to sum it up. So what happens is, currently, Elisa will know that she has 8% completed in this grade. So if she goes into her kinesiology and she says, okay, well, just my exams is that, right? Of course, this is complete, for example. And then we're saying that, our Connect Wellness worksheet also has a grade. And what did you get there, let's say?
Oh, 100%.
100%, awesome. So then, but what was the weightage? Maybe 5%? I mean, just as an example.
Yeah.
Okay, so even though you got 100%, it doesn't mean your grade jumped up by 100. It just means you got 5% on top of that, right? So now, if I go to kinesiology, you can see that I have 13% already done of my grade. So this is how you can kind of easily calculate that. And what's the more important thing right now is that, right now we have this downstream progress bar that is showing only the downstream average. But what I want one more thing to do is I want to show a different set of numbers if the downstream, if we're saying that this is a school task instead, right? So we're going to do 2 quick things. And again, we're going over time just a bit, but I want to say that, there's 2 main things here. The first one is I don't want everything else to be weighted like this, right? I only want the weighted average to happen for the school task. So what I'm going to do here is I only want to show this. I only want to show any number at all, only if the subtype has school. So let's do that. So let's go for subtype here. Let's see the subtype. If subtype equals to, let's just do contains, comma, school, then we're going to do all this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to do nothing. It's going to show 0. Okay, so basically what we just did here is, if it wasn't an exam, which is a study guide, for example, right? And we already said that, let's say the target was to, do one of them. We just did one of them. The weighted average will still be 0 because this is a...
Yeah, it doesn't have any weight.
Oh, so no, we need graded. So graded is what we need, not school. Graded.
Yeah.
So if it's not graded, then then there's no weightage. It doesn't matter. There's no grade. You're just working on it to get to that grade that you want, if that makes sense. So that's the first thing.
The completed... Yeah. I was about to say, the completed one is where I put my percentage, like what I got on it?
Yes. So
okay.
So So actually, I made a mistake here where I don't actually put 1 and 0. If I put it to complete, it normally is 100% anyway. But what we're just saying is that we don't want this to change if numbers are here and it's not supposed to be graded. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. It's kind of like on some things where like systems don't really like to and take assignments that aren't like extra credit because it kind of like messes things up, or things that are like optional that don't
You
really
can take extra
mess with
credit
your
because
grade.
if you have an extra credit, let's say you did something for extra credit. And by the way, Anastasia, I have an answer for you. We do actually have like a beginner, intermediate, advanced mode. I'd say this stuff is
Oh yeah.
advanced.
Oh
but
yeah. This is
but yeah,
definitely advanced. I
this is
started
for like
from bare
power
bones
users.
minimum.
This is for power users that really want to like, accelerate their stuff. But let's say we had an example here where like this is extra credit potential. Okay, this is extra credit potential. What would be something with extra credit? Give me an extra credit assignment. So something.
Oh, health research.
Health research. Okay. So
Not a thing, but example.
whatever. Example. Yes. So we're saying that there's an extra credit potential health research. We're going to make this a new awesome quest, right? So everything starts. Maybe it took you, 2 hours, right? So you say 2, no problem. You're saying that this subtype is school and it's graded and it's homework. Okay. So what happens here is like if it's a high impact, it doesn't really matter. And let's say this was due, uh, Thursday. This was due Friday, and you finished it on Friday. So everything was on time. Awesome. Okay. So let's say you finished it, right? And normally it would just normally show 100%, which means
Right.
that which is wrong because you actually need to add in your target and complete it. You might not have gotten the full mark. You might have gotten only half of it, right? So maybe if the mark was out of 3 and you got only like a 1.5, right? This is actually 50. And this weightage, let's say this was, full weightage. Okay, let's say this full weightage. Full weightage is going to be 1, which means that like if the potential for this extra credit was 1% additional on your mark, then basically you got 0.5. Make sense? So it doesn't
Right.
have to all add up to 100%. You could in
Okay.
the end be over 100%, but the whole idea
Yeah.
is that you know how much extra credit potential this had, and therefore you know how much you scored, and therefore you have a weighted average to then roll up to the top, which then you can see here, nice and happy, is that you have a 13.5% so far, right? And then this can even roll up to like, hey, you can see like exactly what kind of GPA you have later. I'm not too sure exactly how you might want to roll this up. If this is a student thing, maybe you want this to be the whole progress bar. I don't know exactly. This is up to you. And actually, this is like, you can put the target there and you can just say you're getting close until you actually have the completed number to put in here. But one thing you could do, I'm just going to show you one last thing, is let's say because this is school, like you can easily just even self-reference yourself. Let me explain what that means. So basically you can have like a page where you can say, well, okay, I'm just showing you it, but I wouldn't say this is the best thing to do. I'm just showing you, okay? So let's say we do this. I duplicated a view just to make it easier. I'm going to make this view a gallery. And I'm going to change this table view to a gallery view. Okay, so, and this is, okay, actually, let me undo that. Table view is fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to filter by ourself. So I only want to see itself, if that makes sense. So I want to see if the and let's say the name contains kinesiology. Why I don't like this because you have to build it every time. So
Yeah.
But let me just remove this. Let me just show you what I'm thinking about, and we can improve this, of course. But let's say his name is kinesiology 2050.
Yeah. Because we can keep working on this calculating the grades thing.
Yeah.
Personally, because I feel like it could get really confusing really, really fast if we haven't optimized it yet. Because even for me, just looking at like just completed, I really wouldn't understand where to put the grade if I didn't watch this. So
Yeah.
it
No,
looks like a
of
lot.
course, this is like something to test, right? And I guess what I wanted to show you just really quickly is here. It's like, well, we have the name, and then we can have the students downstream sum. So we can see that right now we're at a 13.5%, basically.
Mhm.
Like this is where you can kind of see that information. And then if you wanted to then show, again, we're just self-referencing this. It's just a table of the same item in the same table. If that makes sense. And then you can say like this is your target number and this is your completed number as well. It's a completed number. Yeah. So basically you can show all these things if you want to. And then you can kind of just math it out yourself. So again, at the end of the day, it's just very flexible. It's all here for you guys. And this is how it's all gonna be. Okay, we're over time, but let's talk about this. Here's the giveaway. For those
Giveaway
who wants this gamification template. So let me just move to the screen.
I hope everybody's still here. Hello,
Yeah, I
everyone.
hope you guys are still here. If you guys
It's just
want
us. It's like
this
1%.
well, hopefully not. Hopefully what we shared
Because
has value for
technically,
you.
I'm watching the stream to watch the chat, so it's just gonna be me.
Awesome, guys. So how to get into the giveaway? How do you want? How can you get this template for yourself? Simply do these few things. And you know, we're going to be a bit generous this time. Whoever is watching until the end of this and still wants a template, as long as you speak up, you can get it. I'm going to be a bit generous there because I appreciate that you came out to watch this live stream. I appreciate that you sat through this for 2 hours and 10 minutes. You know, I think, you know, what we share here has value, and especially for students who may not have the resources to afford everything that they need, the tools that they need to excel. I want to make it possible for you guys to excel, right? And that's the whole idea of CoX3. Why we're here is because we want to help, you know, our generation of, you know, students, of creatives, of even second winders to excel in their craft and do the work they love and make work fun. Be happy about that. So what do you gotta do? Very simple. One, comment in this video that you want this template. And then give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then final thing is join the CoX3 family at r.cox3.com. Okay, 3 simple things, and you get this whole template for free. This is our gift to you, and I thank Elisa so much for being here to guide me on the journey of building a student template for you all. And of course, feel free to tell a friend about us. You know, tell a friend about our what we do here. Tell a friend about our templates. Of course, they won't have what you have, but that you can use that as something to kind of lure them in.
Could be like, it's exclusive. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so please go ahead and throw us a comment. Remember, in the comments, not just in the chat. Thank you for letting us know your interest in the chat, but also throw it in the comments as well. Tell us one last thing in your comment. You want this template and what you learned today, right? What do you want out of this template? What do you want this template to do for you, right? Share what you want this template to do for you, or why you want this template. That's why you want this template. So simple as that. And then after a few days, by Sunday, I'd say, I'll reach out to all of you guys who have submitted, and then make sure that you guys get a copy. But just do make sure that you join the CoX3 family.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Because otherwise,
Please,
I won't be able to reach out to you directly. There's no DM function on YouTube. I will have to know you through the CoX3 family. So do that. If there's any final questions, I will be happy to kind of touch on that, but I think we're well over time. Thank you guys again for your engagement, and any last words, Elisa?
Thank you, everybody. I'm so happy to be a guest. I'm so happy to help other students like figure all this stuff out, to figure out a system, because I've been lost, I've been disorganized, and I don't know where I would be without the awesome community that I found here, the people who care about me. Thank you for coming, and thank you CoX3 family for being here and like caring about me and caring about my struggles as a student. And I hope this not only gave you a new solution, but inspired you to do something, to learn something new about your life, to learn something new about a subject, to figure out who you are in this way, to figure out your goals and all of those types of things that even a year ago I didn't even know. So I hope to see you all in CoX3. Please join everybody, and again, everybody who came to see us, thank you.
Awesome. So thank you guys for the live people that joined. Look forward to your new templates. For people who are watching this after the fact, don't worry, we'll still make it, it's still very affordable, I think, in my opinion. It's whatever contributions that go towards supporting these templates just helps us build more templates for you guys. Everything that goes to the community is for the community. It just supports our content creators and make sure that we have more opportunities to share. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching. Please have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a good night if you're in North America. If you're in Asia, have a good rest